Temporarily from the White Mountains of New Hampshire, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, August 28th, 2016. Silver is trading at $18.65 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,321 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $576. Antiwar.com reports on July 19th, U.S. warplanes dropped bombs on a crowd of civilians in the Syrian village of Tokar. When the dust cleared, a minimum of 95 people were killed, and some groups claim that once those wounded began dying, the toll rose to nearly 200. CENTCOM seems to accept this piece of the story. There was definitely a crowd of civilians, and there was definitely U.S. warplanes dropping 500-pound bombs on them, and those bombs definitely hit the target. Getting them to the part where bombing a bunch of civilians with deadly explosives meant killing them, however, is a Herculean task. Officials from Amnesty International say that this is almost always the case as far as CENTCOM is concerned, and that they routinely reject information they bring to them that includes the names of slain civilians and pictures of the aftermath of the strike. The Pentagon will not even provide them with criteria on what they actually would want. Even on rare occasions like Tokar that CENTCOM is pressed into agreeing to an investigation, such a process regularly lasts months on end with no transparency, and assuming they ever get around to admitting the incident happened at all, they'll almost certainly shrug it off with a death toll far lower than the number of bodies shown in pictures after the incident. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports a tropical disturbance will bring soaking rain to South Florida, the Bahamas, and Cuba this weekend, and could form into a tropical depression in the Gulf of Mexico by midweek. As of midday Saturday, the storm was about 210 miles southeast of Miami. The storm system is moving slowly over Cuba and the southern Bahamas on Saturday and should reach Florida sometime Sunday. AccuWeather reported the storm is producing locally heavy downpours and thunderstorms with potentially damaging winds. A high-pressure system sitting over the Appalachians and mid-Atlantic region could push the weather system west into the Gulf of Mexico by Monday, where Weather.com said it is possible for low wind shear to allow tropical rotation to enable the storm system to intensify into a tropical depression or tropical storm. The National Hurricane Center said there is a moderate chance a tropical depression or greater could form in the Gulf of Mexico by midweek. If the storm enters the Gulf of Mexico, as some forecasters indicate, it could make landfall in areas that have been soaked with rain in August, including portions of central Louisiana where record flooding devastated areas around Baton Rouge over the last 2 weeks. When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.xyz, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.xyz today to find out more. Reuters reports the U.S. Department of Justice will decide whether criminal contempt charges will be brought against Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio for violating court orders in a racial profiling case, according to court documents released on Friday. The department's criminal division has been assigned the case against Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio and 3 others after the U.S. Attorney's Office for Arizona asked to be recused, according to documents filed in U.S. District Court in Phoenix. The criminal referral centers on U.S. District Judge Murray Snow's ruling that Arpaio intentionally violated a 2011 court order barring the sheriff's office from stopping and detaining drivers solely based on the suspicion that they were in the country illegally. The stops continued for another 18 months. Snow also cited Arpaio and his office for failing to disclose documents and preserve records in the case. Political observers say he should win his primary, but is expected to be in a fight in the November general election. Last Friday, Snow recommended Arpaio face criminal charges for ignoring court orders arising out of the judge's ruling that Arpaio and his deputies were guilty of racial profiling of Latino motorists. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.